I love the apocalypse. All you scaredy cat goody two shoes with your boo-hoo, the world's ending, let's get out of here attitudes aren't taking a minute to smell the roses. Not that, that's a burning city. Some folks are hiding out there. That smoke smells pretty good, too. I mean, you get to run around with your best friends and just plain have a ball. See that? I found that tank in a warlord's camp. I painted those flames myself. Pretty neat, huh? Those guys are mutants. I think they eat people. Great folks. Don't go near them myself. Those guys are pirates. Don't drink that water. Or that water. Or that water. You know what? Let the pirates have the water. Those are the border lords. You know how some people experience a moment of perfect existential freedom when staring into the yawning abyss of destruction caused by spite and indifference? I don't know what any of that means. Don't go in the Red Death, by the way. That helicopter's mine, too. It goes fast. Those are raiders. They hate everyone. I found a nuke in a supply crate. Imagine just leaving this lying around. It's almost like people don't respect the tools of senseless destruction. Well, not entirely senseless. We're all trying to get to the last surviving place in the world so the last one standing can get onto a lander and fly up to a spaceship that's leaving this planet to go somewhere else. Or, as I like to call it, leaving the party early. Where'd you get that ship anyway? I bet you stole it from those guys. They're scientists. Those are the jocks, and the doomsday preppers, and the wanderers. We like to shoot each other for fun. Those are the cultists. They take their faith very seriously. Gotta respect their commitment. Light bulb! You should just come on down and see the end of the world for yourself. It'll be the best road trip, the last road trip. You drive the tank. I made us snacks. It's jerky. You like jerky. Don't ask where it came from. We're gonna have the best party, the last party ever.
Hello and welcome, Civ fans, to our overview of the September 2019 update. We've included a slew of things for you to review today, including balance updates, bug fixes, new UI, features, and especially the Red Death. I'd like you all to notice that we are broadcasting from this beautiful bunker that Kevin Schultz has generously provided for us, because in the world of Red Death, it's a good day to be alive. So, with that, I'd like to get started by introducing who I'm here with today. We have Bradley Olsen, our engineering lead for multiplayer. He's the guy that makes sure all your multiplayer games are running and stay running. And beside him, everybody's favorite QA lead, Carl Harrison.
Hey, everybody.
So obviously this has been a very sizable patch that we've released. I think we've been really hitting that for all of our patches this year. We really want to make sure as much content is in these patches as possible. Fan suggestions, updates, tweaks, balance, just everything that makes the game an improved experience. And I think that this has been no exception to that. The team has really hit it out of the park. But of particular note, Bradley put his head up above his thousands of auto-playing multiplayer machines just long enough to say, I've got a really cool idea for a fun multiplayer mode. But it's interesting, so I'm going to let him take it away and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so Red Death is a new mode for multiplayer. It's a competitive game based in the last throes of civilization on a dying planet. And so you're playing as one of 8 different factions, and you and your civilians are scrounging around the map trying to find everything you can as the Red Death, which is a wall of radiation, slowly creeps onto the map. Now you're fighting the other civilizations because there's one lander, space lander, left in orbit, and the last civilization alive gets to escape the planet and move on to bigger and better things. Yeah.
That sounds like it's something well off to the side of what a traditional civilization game is like. What kind of went through when you're like, let's try some... How do you come up with the idea of doing something so far off to the side of a traditional Civ game where you're kind of devoting like 4 to 8 hours to a multiplayer game?
So it's quite a bit different than a traditional Civ game. It takes about an hour 15 minutes. There's no cities, no religion, no technology. It's just you and your units, and you're procuring everything you can in the field, and it's much more intense because you're just focused on the tactical aspects of things. So you're just focused on that, and it ends up being very quick and interesting to just play against each other.
So it's, you removed all this extraneous stuff, and it's a straight up, fast, tactical game of survival. So let's go ahead and take it to the screen, and we have a lobby queued up here for Carl.
Yep.
We have a lot of other guys in the office kind of helping us out. I see we have Ed in there, and we have some of the graphics guys and some other players that are ready to take on Carl in a head-to-head match. We will warn you, this is a random seed because it's a multiplayer game, so we'll just see how Carl does, and hopefully he can survive long enough to get through the entire thread, or the entire stream. But just take us down through some of the players, what they're playing with there.
So we don't have all of the factions in. There's a couple of others that aren't represented here, but
are there 8 total?
I believe so.
Okay.
8, yes. There's 8 total. Each one has a small bonus to. It's not as blown out as a full Civ, right? These are things for the hour-long mode specifically. So mutants are the faction I am playing. They take less damage in the Red Death out in the radiation, and they have increased movement out there. We also have the Border Lords, the Wanderers, the Cultists, the Mad Scientists, and the Pirates in this game. I'm going to go ahead and start it up.
All right.
See what it looks like.
So this one was a little bit off to the side of our traditional production process too. Our typical production process is designers have, grand big ideas. We have lots of meetings. We figure out what it's going to take, what kind of assets and team resources need to be deployed. But Bradley decided to do something a little bit on the sly and to just throw it out to everybody to check out. So I actually like this story because it's something that was that I haven't encountered in my 15 years here at Firaxis. So how did this actually come into existence, Bradley?
So it was an internal April Fool's joke. We'd always internally kind of joked about Battle Royale games because they were kind of, the latest thing in games. And I thought it would be funny if I just quickly implemented it for Civ and just as a joke. And I went ahead and did it on the weekend sometime, and I went and checked it into the build, and so it was just silently checked into our daily builds. And when we came in on Monday, I just waited, excited to see if anyone noticed my joke, and nobody noticed at all. Nobody noticed. And so a couple days later, during one of our meetings, I stood up and said, "Hey guys, I actually did this. We should try it out." And so we did, and we ended up having a really great time with this. It ended up feeling very unique. Just because it's a turn-based game and it's in Civilization, and it felt really cool. And so Dennis said, "Why don't you run with this?" And I just started working on it, and we ended up iterating on it, and it looks a lot different than it does now, and it's a more holistic game.
So we can see Carl doing some early exploring. We see that he's already searched a city ruin and actually found a unit inside.
So you can see that before the city ruins had supply crates around it or shipping containers with flares, and now those are gone because I've explored it. So you can tell the difference between ones that have been and have not been explored. Also, there's a little symbol on the mini-map that is gone, but this one over here is still there.
Yeah, we did a lot of tech work down on the mini-map to make sure that all of these indicators are actually on there, because this is unlike other Civilization multiplayer games, this is very fast-paced. You need to know where these things are right away, because right now, the phase of the game that Carl is in, he's searching rapidly, trying to find as many of these things as he can, because eventually he's going to run into the other players, and everybody is fighting for survive. And it comes down to the last living civilian, right? As long as you have a civilian,
So
you're okay.
this unit right here is basically my life. If this gets captured, I lose. And I can capture them from other people, and then I have like additional civilians with additional lives, and I have a little bit of flex room at that point. Why don't you talk about what's going on up here in the left-hand corner?
Right, so that is your Red Death status updater. So right now it's indicating there's 7 turns left until the safe zone shrinks, but in this case it means the safe zone's actually appearing for the first time. So when the game initially starts, you're on this desolate map. You can see here it looks very different than a normal Civilization game. You start with a very small army, and then you are frantically running around for supplies. And so right now he's panning out in every direction, and it looks like you've already found some city ruins there.
Yeah, I got 2.
And so as soon as the 7 turns are up, the Red Death is going to start coming in. And the first indication you'll see of that is you'll see an overlay indicating the safe zone, which is the location where the Red Death is not going. And as as the turns tick down from there, a wave of radiation that we have called the Red Death starts coming in from all sides of the map, and so it kind of corrals you into the safe zone. Now, you're playing as the mutants right now, so you actually take less damage from fallout, and that is very helpful when you maybe want to skim across the Red Death to get somewhere.
We'll showcase that a little bit later.
There's a certain movie line I want to yell out right now, but I don't think I'm allowed.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Is that the Statue of Liberty there?
It is the Statue of Liberty. And I don't know if anybody caught it there, but I promoted this unit, and the unit had a unique promotion tree. And the next time that comes up, we'll show it a little bit more in depth. It's different for each unit class, obviously, but they are not the same promotion trees as you see in single player.
Well, one of the interesting things that about Bradley's story he told earlier is this entire thing started out where he just put in a very basic warriors and settlers, the same green lush landscape, and everybody just played. And that was the thing. We're all hardcore players here at the office. We love Civ through and through. And there was just something about this that triggered with us right away, and we ended up playing this a lot. And we were just playing it excessively, helping Bradley iterate his design. The art team noticed what was going on because it was originally going to be like warriors, archers, etc. The art team said, no, 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 we can do much better than that. And they practically assaulted the entire map. You can see like the the civilian unit. Carl, if you want to zoom in on that guy. John Fitzgerald, our unit lead for Civilization 6 and onward, had a tremendous amount of fun chopping up like the RV that's in the game and the Jeep and other things to create these great post-apocalyptic units across the board that you saw in the trailer. They just had a blast putting this together, and where it landed was actually really interesting and not something, again, that would have come up through the traditional design paths. Now, you haven't run into anybody. Oh,
I don't know.
You
There's somebody here, and we're both like, oh, we're just going to keep going our separate ways right now.
And
thankfully,
who is that?
I don't think either of us wants to lose this unit. This is Arthur, the
That's
Wanderers.
Arthur. Okay.
Right, so with Wanderers, you start off with some of the promotions you can get for your units, and so that they ignore most terrain costs, so they can go right through forests and hills, just normal movement points. And that does let them move very quickly at the beginning of the game, so you're going to have to stay clear of them.
That promotion also applies to civilian units that are in formation with those military units.
Right.
So when you have your civilian, you can move even faster, and it's fantastic. That's one of the best promotions. I did not take it on my machine gunner because I try to go for 2 attacks as quickly as possible. But on all of my other units, I will probably pick that up first.
So every unit has a unique promotion tree?
Every unit
Yes.
class?
Yep.
And they've been specially tuned for this mode, so you'll have to explore that when you play the mode for yourself.
Now, I saw a raider camp appear down below. Does that give you anything that maybe a city does not if you kill that?
Yeah, so there's raider outposts, and they get marked just like the city ruins. Raider outposts, if you clear them, will give you a helicopter, typically. I think, is there a chance you get anything else, or is it just a helicopter?
There might be a small chance you get something else, but it's normally just helicopters.
I don't imagine helicopters are particularly useful on this map.
Yeah, between their movement speed and the fact that they start being able to ignore terrain without having a promotion makes them very strong.
Right. That's especially true if you take the escort pursuit promotion. What that lets you do is it lets the helicopter grant its movement to the settler civilian that's in formation with. So you can really zoom around the map when you do that. It's really great when you're trying to, for example, get away from the Red Death.
Speaking of which, I think we're about to turn over a ring turn when the first turn when the ring actually appears.
Oh yes, yeah, one turn. So these count down, and then it hits the end, and now it's turned this slight blue, and that's the safe zone.
Now you've got a fortunate start because you're almost dead center in the ring.
Yes and no. As the mutants, I actually prefer to be closer to the edge.
That's true. Although there's probably some players that are in a panic right now because they're in the middle of the red area right now where they have to get out of in a hurry.
So this is the melee promotion tree. It's a little bit different than usual, and I'm going to take Scout Regiment, which is the one that allows them to ignore terrain. And this is what the Wanderers start with.
Yes. Yeah, you don't necessarily know where the safe zone's going to happen at any time. So sometimes you're in the middle of the safe zone and you have an opportunity to kind of defend against players coming into the safe zone. And other times you're on the edge of the safe zone. or you can be completely far away from the safe zone. Now, we are pretty careful about giving you plenty of time to try to get to the safe zone, but you can see here on the map that in the mini-map there, you can see little creeps of red coming in. That's the Red Death coming on.
Yep.
Now, if you look at your Red Death's status indicator up at the lower, in the upper left, you can see that there's a little radiation symbol. That indicates how much damage you're going to take if you're in the fallout at this time. So that number changes and gets worse and worse over time because the planet is falling apart.
And it increases, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry.
Does the safe zone shrink consistently towards a point, or is it random each time in terms of how it shrinks?
It randomly shrinks down within the current safe zone. Okay. So effectively, the safe zone hex is getting smaller and smaller over time.
So you can't count on a single point in the center because it might go in a different direction.
Can't do that. Right.
Okay.
I did get something different from this Raider Outpost.
Well, Carl got a nuke.
That is actually pretty fantastic.
That's going to come in handy later. So the nukes in this game, they don't work the same. They're not a unit or anything you get, correct?
That's correct. It's a global munitions. So you can, on any unit that has not taken very much damage, you can just look at its unit abilities and launch that nuke from there. So we're probably going to hold it back here until you get into a fray with someone else.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you hit as many units as possible. So we'll wait until the ring shrinks down, and then we'll see how many people we can hit.
Of the games that I was playing in the office, everybody usually hoards their nukes until the last couple of shrinks, and then everything becomes radiated and nukes are flying everywhere.
And nukes apply radiation to the map, of course. Yeah. So it can make it very difficult to maneuver. Now something else has appeared here. A supply drop has appeared. What are these?
So those are extra special locations that have been dropped in higher level equipment. So if you go to a supply drop, you can find a tank, some rocket artillery, or even a nuclear weapon. And those are particularly powerful in this game mode, so you're going to be wanting to go towards those. Now, you'll notice here on the map that the supply drops have appeared around the edge of the safe zone. That is where they typically will appear.
Right on the edge?
Yes, yeah. And they will also appear a ways away from other players, so there's going to be a little bit of a race to get to these locations. So, Carl, where are they at and compared to you right now?
They're very far away from me.
Yeah, you may not be able to get them this time, but...
They appear far away from other players as long as there's space to do so. Once the ring gets small, sometimes they'll appear right next to you, and that can really change the outcome of the game.
Yep.
And this is completely playable for free as long as you just own the base game. You don't need anything else, correct?
That's correct. You can play base game, and it is available for free.
Do we have any kind of, how should I say, really simple or improved ways to get into a game? Like if you're a player that doesn't typically play multiplayer, is there an easier way to get into a game than going through a traditional search for a lobby, search for a game?
Yes. So for this mode, we've added a new matchmaking system. If you want to just play Red Death and you don't feel like you want to change any of the game rules or anything like that, you can just go to the multiplayer button, and there will be a new button that says Play Red Death. And you click that, it will drop you into a match as quickly as possible, and you'll be, away you go.
Awesome. Carl, you haven't actually run into too much in the way of other players yet. You just ran across Arthur briefly, right?
Yeah, one of Arthur's units who was slightly more promoted than me, but other than that, we were the same strength. There are corps and armies in this. If you have duplicate units, you can form corps and armies, but he had just a single guy, I had a single guy, so we both kept exploring, because it's more valuable to try to pick up more units than to take out just a single infantry like that. And I haven't seen anybody else since then except for these raiders.
And you can, of course, go in and customize the game in pretty much any way that you can normally customize a multiplayer game. You can play on all the map types, or most of them.
Right.
The cool thing is, like Carl back in QA, those guys like to play in hard mode, meaning they'll put more players into a map that's not necessarily made to support that many players to really get the action going immediately, much less of a search time at the beginning. You can really just play with that and have a lot of fun depending on the group of friends that you're with.
Absolutely.
And that does affect the game because the number of city ruins available ends up increasing or decreasing based on the size of the map. So if you were starting on a small map, you're going to have a lot fewer resources to play with while you play the game.
Right,
so,
and by packing more people in there, not only are you going to encounter them sooner, but it's a even bigger race to try to get those because there's fewer resources.
And if you really want to go hard mode, you go on a straight up, islands type map, because what does the water do for you in the game whenever you try to cross?
So the water in this game is toxic. All of them are
I want
toxic.
to interrupt you there for a second. Carl is promoting a new line of water called Wasteland Water.
Yep.
So if you're interested in a soy
Yeah, I
sauce
got a little bit
infused,
too here.
a soy sauce infused water flavoring,
Oh no, this is just straight from the wasteland.
that's just straight from the
Yeah,
wasteland.
don't drink that water.
All right. From now on, Carl
turn's
will
going,
take
though.
10 turns of damage per turn for drinking that. But anywho, when you're crossing the water, what kind of horrible things happen to you? Are your ships or your boats?
So you're pretty much just embarked units, and but the problem is you're taking damage every turn you're playing. So you probably want to get out of the water as soon as possible. This is especially true if the Red Death is right behind you, and you do not want to be in the Red Death while you're in the water because you'll be taking damage from the water and
Doubling
from
up.
the Red Death. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, every once in a while, there's a really interesting game where the Red Death has split a landmass in half with water straight up the middle.
Yeah.
And you try to make a decision, you don't necessarily know which way is going to be the safe way to go, whether you should cross the water or not, hoping there's land on the other side. It can get to be a very stressful environment, but it's a trip. I've lost a few games with boats trying to cross an endless ocean that I was hoping for a bit of land right on the other side when I got chased off of a continent before.
Now, we have tried to balance the safe zone a little bit
Snag.
since then, so it does bias over land whenever the safe zone shrinks. So as long as you're heading towards the center of the safe zone, you're probably going to find land.
I'm not even talking about running away from the Red Death. I'm just talking about running away from opponents when I'm
Oh,
outmatched.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
fleeing, diving in the water, and swimming for it, and then dying at sea.
Yes,
That's a very inglorious way to end your game.
we've had that be the end for many a player in Red Death.
There are no naval units or air units in this, though. It's just
Yep.
land units.
Yep.
Oh, you're
Now, it seems like you're running up against the edge of the continent, too. You might have actually found a left-hand edge just looking at the hinting of
Potentially,
what's there.
but this
There is something
is
over there.
definitely land. So there's something down in that corner, probably. go
Either
down.
that or there might be a little water somebody's going to have to cross, because we know there's somebody there because they snagged that.
Right.
well, and it used to be a supply drop, so
Right.
Carl has actually dismissed the supply drop notifications. But if you have
'Cause they're
looked
no
at
longer
them,
there,
they're no
yeah.
longer there, right? But you can tell if a supply drop has been picked up based on looking at it on the map, and also the icon on the mini-map disappears as well.
So while Carl is rolling through some of the rest of these turns, I do want to throw out some general patch stuff interspersed, just because we don't just have some potential Red Death fans, but also some Civ fans watching. But we have included a lot of balance items, especially for coastal cities, great admirals, things like that. What is the thing that you were most excited about by the patch release, Carl?
Probably the coastal city changes. We know that that was something that the fans were really asking for, that they wanted to see improvements in that area. So it's something that we spent a lot of time focusing on, figuring out the best way to approach that. So the great admirals you mentioned, we heard feedback that people, when having to pick between a commercial hub or a harbor, for example, to get your trade route, people were sometimes going with the commercial hub just to get the great merchants instead because they were better. So we wanted to make sure that the admirals were more balanced between them and they have more great merchant type effects. There's a helicopter.
There we go.
That's what I like to see.
I will point out that supply drops are so much easier to get if you've got a helicopter to go and fetch them.
Yes.
And when the supply drops are coming down and the radiation is even closer, that's when Carl's mutant powers are really going to help him to move fast. But he'll show you that once we get a little bit further in. Up.
Well, how's that
There's
unit
somebody
doing
else.
promotion-wise?
I don't know. Helicopters also, as mounting units, ignore zone of control, so that makes it even better. The new maps are really great too. Going back to
Yeah.
the patch,
There's a lot of new maps.
There's a lot of new maps. Terra is one of my favorites, where all players start on one continent, one landmass, and there's a landmass that has barbarians and city-states, but nothing else.
Yeah.
And it's great to go and explore and find new resources and city-states there. I really enjoy that one. Just like we downsized the map in Red Death, during our testing, we also frequently upsized the map for Terra.
Yeah.
Because when you have that many civs packed in one area, there can be a lot of war.
Yeah.
So we spaced it out a little bit to give ourselves more room. And it's a lot of fun to play on.
It seems like it would be a really good map to play if you wanted a like a Maori adventure.
Yep.
To see how much of that other continent you can get populated before
anybody else can find it.
Yeah.
Norway is really good with that too.
Yeah.
Now, I think you've upgraded that unit, right?
I have. He can now attack twice.
Right, so he can probably dominate that raider post there. So in this scenario, you gain experience faster. So you're going to have an opportunity to be able to customize your units a little bit more as you play. So what is your overall strategy here with these units? How are you upgrading them? How do you like to do that?
So my ranged units, I almost always go for Expert Marksman, which allows 2 attacks. Before Scout Regiment, which is the one that ignores terrain. I'm getting attacked over here, great. But on all my melee units, I go with ignore terrain because that allows them to attack up onto hills or through forests, things like that. And
yes,
it's very helpful. I'm going to pull that guy back.
Yeah, I think you're starting to run into some traffic
down
there.
There's a lot of people down here.
Yep. Uh-oh, that's...
Oh,
that's
no.
coming your way.
That's never something you want to see as the player.
Oh.
So it looks like he fired somewhat blind, hoping there was more behind you.
A little bit. However, I won't take radiation damage from this until next turn. And even if I do, because I'm mutants, I take half damage, which is 15 right now. So I'll take half of that. This guy would die, but luckily I can get out of there.
Well, and you also can use your promotion to heal a little bit.
Now you said you get promotions faster, and that's true, but you also heal less from them. You don't heal 50, you heal only 25 now.
Right, and to offset that, sitting and staying still lets you heal a little bit faster than you have in a traditional Civ game. So if you can manage the sit still, you can heal up pretty quickly.
Right, which is even better for the Mad Scientists because it doubles that increased healing rate.
It is very difficult to fight the Mad Scientists when they have the high ground, because they can just fortify up and then just stand strong, and they heal very fast. So even if you're damaging them, you have to hit them hard to take them out. Oh, you're chasing somebody there.
Who is blue?
Oh, well, this is Tronster.
Tronster.
But he has a tank, and I don't like the look of that.
Nobody likes the look of that, although it looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
Tronster
I hear that those flames are hand-painted.
Tronster is our UI lead. That is another John Fitzgerald unit special. He had way too much fun cranking these guys out.
Oh.
I eliminated a player.
So when you eliminate a player in this game, you also capture their civilians. And so that actually makes you more powerful when you capture his civilian, because there's more chances for you not to die if you lose one of your other civilians.
It seems like that would be a good strategy to not have your civilians together. If you've got more than one, keep them apart.
Yeah.
When I'm playing, I tend to have one that's running around hiding somewhere while the other one is with the bulk of my forces being protected.
Yep. In this case, it looks like you cut the head off the snake with that move there.
Yeah.
Is there any new changes for governments in this particular release, Carl?
Yes, we added a new policy slot to the Tier 4 governments. So I forget exactly which one is which, but the kind of slot that they already had 2 of, they got a 3rd one of.
Oh, wow.
That was because we had heard some feedback from the fans that that switch from Tier 3 to Tier 4 governments didn't feel quite as good as it could. There were all other government switches gained 2 policy slots, but the Tier 3 to Tier 4 only gained 1. So we wanted to add another policy slot in there, so we just added another one of the existing type. Oh, I am missing combat down there. That's not great.
Well, we still have our nuke in reserve if we decide we need it.
We do.
Oh. Looks like maybe you're trying to take out his civilians there.
I eliminated him.
That worked.
Didn't even have to face that tank.
How long do these games typically run?
It depends on the number of players that you have, but I would say usually about an hour.
I think the longest thing we've ever had has been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my producers up at 2K can close their ears just ever so briefly. But the first time we sent this up to 2K, they said, so is the average play time around, 15 minutes or so? And we're like, no. Because apparently they all got ganked by raiders and stuff before they even had a chance to interact. We're like, no, it's typically about 50 minutes. But you guys just aren't good at the game. So we have to challenge them to a game. Now they've actually had time to really play it and get good at it. We're going to have an official challenge sometime and stream it out.
Oh, you're not going for the scout regiment, huh?
No, I'm tempted, but this guy is a core, so I need to increase combat strength.
Yeah, because it's an AT crew, a helicopter has
Would
a lot
not
of
fare well.
disadvantage.
Yeah. Especially if this is a normal helicopter
Yes.
against a core, it would not be great.
And looks like the ring is about to go too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
So you see right now the Red Death is right up against that ring. Ring shrinks,
there it
and then the Red Death will close in up to that.
now you normally get about a turn or two before the Red Death starts moving in, but you have to move quickly because the Red Death can overwhelm you very quickly. Oh,
It's
that's
time.
an opportunity right there.
It's
Oh,
time.
man.
Maybe right on top of his machine gunner. That probably would hit all his
Yeah,
units.
that's good.
So Carl has decided to not be a good neighbor.
There's only one seat on the lander, so it's you or them.
Yep. Wow, that was a lot of damage.
Yep.
So it does about 50% of your unit health damage, and the fallout lasts for about 10 turns. So the fallout will expire over time.
5 turns.
5 turns.
5
sorry.
turns.
But if you're stuck in there late in the game where the radiation level is very high, a nuke can end your game.
Yeah, that's why it's never a good idea to keep things super clustered. And if you've got more than one civilian, keep it away from your expensive stuff, because the expensive stuff is going to draw the rockets, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah. Well, did you see where his civilians went?
I did not.
Yeah. But he may have, did he retreat into the water? That might be difficult for him.
Oh, somewhere along the way we lost 2 players too.
Oh, it's,
I eliminated them.
Oh, you wiped
Yeah.
out? Oh, okay.
looks like there's some additional supply drops as well. Oh, somebody already took that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna clear
That one
those
might
out.
be too far away.
Yeah. So there are barbarians that still, I'm sorry, raiders that's still on the map. And they are very good targets for leveling up your units before you encounter other players. So like right now, that's an opportunity to get a helicopter.
Right.
If you can take it before whoever white is. It's
This
probably
is
Ed.
Ed.
Yeah. Looks like he has a army coming down from your left there.
Actually, I'm gonna make a gamble here.
And what sort of gamble is that?
We're gonna go for this.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I guess you have a little time.
I and the mutants.
That's true.
I move faster in Red
You need to
Death,
get up on to the red.
and I take less damage in it.
We'll see how that works.
We'll see how that works.
Probably need to move the civilians back a little bit in
Yeah.
case he comes out of.
Well, I do have
fallout.
extras, so even if he takes this one, I'm not terribly concerned about it.
Right. Now the raider camps are normally protected by AT crews, so if you happen to have a machine gunner or an infantry unit, it's pretty easy to take them. But if you only have AT crews or tanks or
Right.
helicopters, it can be an uphill battle.
Did we remove promotion caps from the raiders, or do they still give the same
That is removed. They give normal experience every single time.
Okay.
However, they do not take Red Death damage.
Right.
So there will be lots of raiders out in the Red Death.
Yeah, further away from the safe zone you go, the more you're going to have a chance of running into these things everywhere.
Right. And it's not fun because you were already damaged from the Red Death at that point. So you probably want to avoid them in that case. Well, what did you get there?
Promotion. Well, I got a helicopter, but I got a promotion on my AT crew.
You have a lot of options on the AT crew there.
Yeah.
Looks like Ed's main army is over there to the west.
It's still up there.
Now, while the helicopters go fast, they are also going through the fog very quickly, and you can rapidly find yourself in a bad position.
Yes.
You just have
If
to find
you-
your way around that mountain range.
Overextend, yes.
I should have been paying
Uh-oh.
attention down here, and I was not.
No, it's a trap.
He queued up several attacks there. I didn't even have a chance.
I think maybe you should pull back a little bit
Yeah,
and let
I
somebody
am.
else deal with Ed.
I'm definitely getting out of there.
Kevin Jones is still in the game.
We have Kevin, Ed, and Stefan.
Okay.
Kevin is a pretty strong competitor.
He is. And I have not seen his units yet.
Yeah, that's probably a scary sign for us. Hopefully it means somebody else has been fighting him.
Oh, he's listening.
Yes.
He says, not today. Oh, no.
Oh, can you maybe go around to
No, the mountains go all the way
they go
around here.
Oh, no.
That's, okay, I'm not going to be able
No.
to get that. It'll be, the Red Death will be too far up, and while we only take 10, it's 10 going out and 10 coming back.
Yeah.
It's a lot of damage. And you can't heal. Even though I'm the mutants, I can't heal out in the Red Death.
Well, you still have an opportunity to use the unit movement advantage.
Oh, there's one
for
here, though.
them.
I can come down and get that.
So if you wait for the Red Death to come over on top of your helicopter, oh, that's not.
That's, I have to. I
We're
have
almost
to
there.
go.
Just go get it. Yep.
We'll switch off on this.
Are you gonna try to skim the Red Death there and get your movement bonus?
Gonna do what I can.
So the Red Death deals damage at the end of game turns. So if you're the mutants and you start your turn in the Red Death, you can get the unit movement bonus without taking damage from the Red Death, which is pretty cool for that faction.
I think they've noticed that you're pulling back. Because that seems to be backfilling in the space.
So who is the red player?
That's Stefan.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you that are joining us late, we are playing a round of Red Death. That's the new multiplayer-only scenario designed by Bradley Olsen, our multiplayer lead engineer, the guy that keeps multiplayer running from day to day. And we've also released a sizable patch just for the main game that has general bug fixes, balance updates, new features, etc. So all of this is a free update for everybody. If you already own the game, whether it's the base game or just Rise and Fall or Gathering Storm, you can play this game now. Just go into multiplayer and either just jump right into the Play Red Death Now button or go in and create a lobby, invite some friends, and have a blast. If you're playing a nice small game, just you and a friend, you can probably get it done within 10 to 15 minutes. But it is a blast, and we encourage everybody to try it out. It's something that we never would have considered as a thing that's part of the Civ canon, but now we can't stop playing it in the office, so we figured we'd share it with everybody else while we're at it.
Now, how's your mutant doing out there in the Fallout?
He took the damage, but he also was able to move the entire way down here.
Oh, that's good.
I also found Kevin.
Where's he at?
He took this.
Oh, so he's lingering at the
He's
top.
up there.
Is he playing
He says he's on a
Borderlords?
peninsula, so this is water. He's up here.
Is he Borderlords?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
So he gets
he's-
stronger the closer he is to the edge.
Yeah. You don't
So
want to fight somebody near
I don't want
the
to go
edge.
do that.
It's within three hexes of the edge?
3 hexes
Yes.
of the edge.
That's when they get their combat bonus. Okay.
And that is on the inside and the outside of the safe zone border.
Carl, the Twitch channel is very upset you haven't taken the time to name your units.
I have 60 seconds.
Oh, somebody just
You got to have your priorities straight. I'm just saying.
you're capturing settlers back and forth there.
Yep.
Oh, rocket
Artillery.
There we go.
Nice.
I'm not going to be able to get those.
This time it looks like most of the safe zone is on land. So you're not going to be fighting over a beach this time, which
Right.
gives you more tactical opportunities, but it also means you can't like push them into the beach.
Right.
Yeah. Now Ed's still in the game.
He
So
is with a
he
lot of
could-
units.
yeah. Because it looks like the coastline is to the south. Maybe it's a little northwest there a little bit. As the pirates, he gets free embarkment, so there's no embarkment costs for his faction. And so he can slide in and out of the water at will.
Right.
And that can be a good strategy to flank around other players or capture unclaimed city ruins or supply drops. Well, it looks like you have a sizable army at this point.
It's decent. I don't have any cores, which is not great.
Yeah, that's the... If you form cores, just like in the base game, they make your units a lot more powerful. It's also advisable to do that if you feel like you're having a hard time handling your whole army with the turn limit.
Right.
You can always make cores, like he could make a core right there, and then you'd be more powerful than that helicopter, but it is. Okay, like that, yes.
I want to let this guy sit here and heal until this catches up with him, and then I will have +3 movement, and he can go full 6.
Yeah. Also, even just a few turns should be able to heal most of his damage
Right.
with him sitting out there.
And like you said, the red death damage is dealt at the end of the turn, so it will advance. He won't take damage. He'll start his turn there and get the movement bonus without having been hurt at all from it.
Right.
That was the best tip I had gotten from you while watching you play yesterday, is to, the ring is going to come in, so you use that to get your massive movement
Yep.
boost.
So he healed 20.
Genius.
I've taken no damage from it, and now I have 6 movement.
Big movement, yeah.
You do have 5 turns until the ring shrinks, but you are right on the edge of the ring.
Yep, which is where I like to be.
Well, unless the border lords.
Unless
are
the
over
border
there.
lords. Border lords have an advantage over me. He's going right up into Kevin.
Well, you can feel free to let him
Yeah,
fight it out while you hang back.
I should pull this guy back down here.
I'm disappointed in the way you're huddling down at the bottom.
Oh, this is what the mutants do. Mutants and the border lords just sit at the edge of the safe zone. If I fall into trouble, I just step outside of the ring, let the Red Death catch me, and then I can just go anywhere I want. It's great.
Well, you saw that helicopter move. 6
6
squares with no terrain.
It's fantastic.
Just straight over any terrain.
I'm also hoping that I'll get airdrops out here, and I can pick those up pretty easily with my helicopters.
Now, if you're eliminated in a game, are you still in the match until the whole thing's over, or are you out and you can just go ahead and jump right into another game if you want?
You're out immediately.
Out.
You're out.
Out.
And
Like I said, airdrop
There
right
we
next
go.
to me.
Convenient.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
There we go. That was a good addition
The other
to
one I'm not
your
going to get.
army there.
Yes, it was. Oh, hello.
Oh, it looks like is he upgraded? Did he just attack twice?
No, it was just one attack.
Okay. Well, you're on the river there, so you can hold your position there if you need to.
I'm gonna fall back.
Now, civilians can't lob nukes, correct? It's just your military units?
That's correct. And they have to be not badly damaged as well.
Okay. What is badly damaged?
I believe it's 50%.
50%?
Okay. So like right now, that AT crew probably is not capable of doing it, but all your other units are strong enough to do it. Well, at least you're earning some promotions.
Yep.
With your fallback here.
Lots of water out here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of pirates.
What do you think? Should we maybe hang back and...
Yeah, we gotta let him come to us.
Yeah.
All this difficult terrain.
And you've got one nuke left.
Don't tell them that.
Well, I can kind of see it on your screen. And I'm sure that none of the other Firaxis team members are actually watching or listening to the stream right now. I can't imagine they would take such an unfair advantage while playing you in this game.
Never.
So the scout regiment should be a good...
Now this guy can
good promotion.
go.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So he's got a tank and he's got some infantry units out there in the fog somewhere. And you have one turn until the... Oh, there we go.
There it goes.
Just shrank down. But as the mutants, you have more options.
Have we even seen a single Kevin unit yet?
We have.
We've
seen a couple of Kevin units.
Okay.
They all ran away in terror. Wait, Kevin. No, we have not seen a single Kevin unit. I was thinking Stefan.
Yeah. Stefan's the one that ran away in terror.
Yes.
Check. Okay.
Yes. We did a settler swap.
Okay.
We each uncoupled our helicopters, attacked the other one.
That's right.
I believe he's playing as the cultists, right?
He is. Cultists have +3 sight range. So if you sit up on a hill, you can see for forever. It's very helpful.
The thing that always scares me when you're done with your move, but the turn timer keeps going and you're waiting for one player, it's most likely because they're maneuvering a very large army.
Right.
And you know they're out there somewhere, you're just waiting for the pain to come. Speaking of pain.
So what are you thinking? Are we going to hit him with the nuke here if we can get his
units? If we can get enough of the units clustered together.
Yeah, I think we want to get some line of sight on a little bit more before we lob that.
Thankfully, these are not cores.
Yeah. Is this generally your favorite faction to play?
I like bouncing around between the factions. They're all fun. Every single one of them is fun. But this one I thought would be particularly good for the stream because of getting to see that 6 movement. It's pretty awesome. He is just out of range.
I happen to enjoy the pirate faction myself because you can use the free embarkment to go right in the water most of the time, and the half water damage is normally not very much early in the game, so you can use it to just skim up the coastline and find city ruins very quickly.
Yeah, it's true.
We've had a joke going around the office just with the way that the artist rendered this post-apocalyptic landscape, that they're implying the end of a horrendous natural disaster and warring And everything possible that could go wrong with the world has gone wrong in this world. Climate change, run amok, the whole 9 yards, ruined GDRs, the landscape, the amount of time that they spent on crafting this landscape. Oh, so Ed's making some moves. Down to looking at... that was
not
Kevin.
Ed.
That was Kevin, yes. But even looking closely at the oceans, if you really zoom in, you can see barrels floating in the water, a lot of nice touches, some tires.
The water is clearly toxic. It bubbles.
Yeah.
The ice caps have been replaced with piles of trash.
Oh yeah, that's something you didn't get to see here. If you
Yeah.
can really get close enough to see where the ice caps are, you just see this walled off trash zone. It's pretty incredible and sad to look at, but it really broadcasts this whole world, the feel of this world, and why you want to escape.
You're going to have to be careful here, because if he moves any closer to the safe zone, he's going to get his combat bonus.
So for those of you just joining us, Carl right now is just trying to survive. The goal of this scenario is to keep at least one of your civilians alive. There is a dropship in orbit. There's too many warring factions, and he only has room for one. So whoever is left standing, that dropship's going to come down and rescue that person from this dying planet. But that's what the whole crux of this battle is about, is keeping that civilian alive as this radioactive safe zone keeps getting smaller and smaller.
2 turns till it shrinks.
That's pretty tight. We're at turn 51 here. That's a fairly advanced Red Death game at this point. So the tactical choices are going to get a lot more complicated here with a safe zone that is...
Oh, that was quick. So somebody's down there.
I got
There we go.
Got a tank.
Fortunately, you're in a position where you have more than one civilian group left. So even if Kevin comes in and wipes you out, in that location, you still have your backup units that can hide.
And they're being very careful not to really reveal themselves either, because they know you've got that nuke still in your pocket.
Mostly because somebody keeps mentioning it on stream to them.
Well, your nuke?
Yeah.
Then I keep mentioning the nuke that you have?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Sure. I just want to make sure that you remember that you have the nuke that you haven't used yet.
There's not an indicator in the upper left or anything that tells you either.
Listen.
Yeah. Oh, the supply drops are being very nice to you today.
Oh.
More rocket artillery. That's handy. They have a range of 3, don't they?
They do.
Yeah. That's a nice stand-back weapon, especially on the side of a river.
They also have an ability to upgrade themselves.
No!
Uh-oh. Oh,
Kevin's like, it's time.
Safe zone appears to have come right next to the Border Lords units, and it's going to be very difficult to fight him in this situation.
Yep. That doesn't bode well for where your army is currently parked. You know what that's a nice target for, though?
Yes.
Does he fire blind? Yes, he does. Hoo-ah. So we can't tell how effective that's going to be. Well, we will in a second, because he's going to go up and look. It's going to be nice because you're going to irradiate the entire area too, which is he's going to have to make a run for it.
And at this point in the game, it does 35 points of damage per turn. You're
That
in
was
red.
most of his units, he says.
Oh no.
Ouch.
Oh yes.
So the raiders are still coming out of the Red Death and hitting you from behind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty late in the game for Red Death, and there's still 4 players left.
I know.
So there has to be a lot of units in that safe zone that we just can't see right now.
So for those of you asking, this scenario is definitely designed for humans. Human opponents in this are going to have the experience that you want. We've put in just enough AI, should you have to have somebody that has to leave the game or they disconnect, that can take over and at least help your army survive and play. You're not going to get nearly the same experience playing against a basic AI game. So keep that in mind. Just find some humans to play with and have a blast. And that's something that we're going to continue to improve as we move forward, because I think depending how reaction is from fans, I think we'd really like to dive into possibly making a single-player version of this if it ends up being something that our fans really ask for.
Yeah, looks like that nuke was well placed. You just lost some units from the radiation. Your AT crew appears to be leveling up nicely.
I'd say so, yeah.
Oh, you're almost at maximum promotions on that guy.
If only I had a core on him. That would be nice.
With as much water as there is over there, and the fact that 3 of them are in the places that you can't see, I'm beginning to think that you might actually have the biggest force left.
No.
You don't think?
Kevin says Ed is definitely the scary one here.
Because there's not a whole lot of
And Stefan has
territory
been
over there.
defeated.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of land left.
So is it going to be another Carl versus Ed showdown here?
It seems that way. Ed, you are frequently scary.
Looks like the turn is waiting on Ed as well.
Yeah.
Probably
He's got to move all
mean
20 of his cores.
Yeah.
he's got to move all 20 of his units.
This is not going to
Yes.
end well for me.
Well, the radiation is cleared, so maybe take a peek over there.
We got 1 turn till the ring shrinks, and then new supply airdrops.
And am I reading the UI right? You don't have any nukes left to hit your opponents with? Is that correct? There's none.
No, I have 2 nukes left.
You have 2. Okay, we'll have to register that as a bug. I don't see them up in the UI
Thanks,
that
Dennis.
I'm looking at. I don't see them.
Thanks for
I
that.
could be wrong.
I never got a nuke either, Kevin.
That was Ed.
He said he never got a nuke.
Wow, that was an abrupt ring change. I have a feeling that was fortuitous to Ed.
Fortuitous to Ed. I'm the mutants.
No, but I think he's waiting for you.
Well, you could probably get a movement bump into the zone if you wait a turn for the Red Death to come up on top of those units there.
Depends on what happens here. I'll let that heal.
But at this point, the zone is so small that as soon as you move into it, you're going to probably see Ed's forces. Yep. Don't forget to move that crew down there with the civilians that's in the
Right.
Red Death. Yeah.
Right.
At this point, 40 points of damage will cripple most units if
Where's
they're
Ed
damaged at all.
Is Ed playing Pirates?
Yes.
Ed is playing
okay,
Pirates,
okay.
yes.
I saw him head off into the water, and I wasn't sure where he thought he was going to go.
I think I may be doing better
I think
than
so too.
Ed after all.
I do believe you are. Go get him, Carl.
Looks like Kevin is also still in the game, but
Barely.
looks like you just found him.
Yeah.
Looks
Oh,
like
he's
he is.
luring me into a trap.
He says it's not much of a trap. He made you fight for it, though.
Yeah.
He's still not dead. Well, as you can see, Red Death can get very intense. When you're playing against other human players, it is very exciting as we're getting down to the end here. And we don't know what's going to happen. It's entirely possible that Ed still has forces in the water, maybe?
Yeah, I think
know.
he might be trying to wait it out.
I think he's swimming, not waiting.
Just
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't looked yet, I would encourage you to go take a look at the full patch and the patch update notes and the Red Death update notes. From the main menu also, there is a how to play Red Death if you want to get an overview on how to play the game. We want to stress to you, don't be intimidated. Just jump in and play it. It's extremely simple to play and a lifetime to master. There's a lot of different options you can play with the different factions. The notes for the patch itself also go into a great deal of detail on all of the items that we've added and adjusted and tweaked, from all of the UI that we've done, gameplay adjustments, AI improvements across the board, and of course a lot of bugs that we've noticed that you guys have reported on the websites and in the community. And as we said before, we're always watching. Not in a bad way, in a good way, we're always watching. So we appreciate it when you actually report these things that might have like slipped through the cracks, and we love seeing them and squashing them as they come up. So keep up with the engagement. You guys are amazing in terms of constantly letting us know what you think, how we can make things better, what you're really enjoying. And we're particularly keen to hear what you think of Red Death once you jump in. And
I did not move that.
especially for somebody who's not necessarily a multiplayer fan, this is a great introduction to something different. So we might be coming to the end here, and I think, Carl, you're actually going to take this one.
We'll see.
Looks like you have over half of the safe zone locked
Keep trying to move
down.
that
Yeah, I think
civilian.
Ed actually fled into the Red Death.
Yeah, he might have.
No, he's out here in the water.
Oh, he's just on the edge. Need to get some artillery over there.
I appreciate you finishing off his military.
Kevin's going to suicide in,
I think he is, yeah.
Yep. Yelling YOLO as he crosses the hills.
Whoa!
No, I think it's a core of rocket artilleries, right?
It is.
Oh, you got him
There
by
it is.
taking out his civilian.
Yep.
Only it is that, and there it is. Ed's just got that one civilian out in the water.
Oh, safe zone's giving Ed no favors there.
There it is.
Hey.
So Carl has successfully vanquished all of his foes. The lander comes down, grabs the civilians. No room for the military, I guess. And heads off for wherever is next. So that was amazing, Carl, watching you play that. We didn't know exactly where that was going to land.
Yeah.
And because that was completely random, sometimes your start is not as friendly as others, but you had a great start on that too. And we just want to say, for all of you watching, thanks so much for taking this in. We encourage you to try it all out. Check out the patch notes and the updates. Let us know how we did and where we can continue to make improvements. Because as per usual, we're still not done. So we love hearing the feedback from our community. And keep up to date by visiting our social channels and just watching what Kevin and company are posting online. And we appreciate everybody for being the best fans in Civilization. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a fun rest of the day.